Hi, everybody. Good evening. My name's Alan, and on behalf of the crew of the show, I'd like to welcome you to another edition and another season of Bridging Heaven and Earth. And for you, those of you who thought that either I had turned into a lion or a leopard or they got a new replacement host, not the case. I'm back, and we're honored to be back. And it's just an extremely powerful and loving time coming into this new age, coming into the year 2000. It's a time of great power and great change for all of us. And in booking this new season, this is the first show of our 5th season, and just to see the level of gifts and talents and passions of the people who are going to be coming on the show, and the people who for some reason couldn't work their schedules out to come on the show. I'm just, I and the crew, speaking for the crew, feel so honored to be with you again. And tonight's show is just a wonderful send-off. I mean, the pictures you were seeing were the pictures of Franz Lanting, who has an incredible book out, and we have some video of him. And then in the studio with us, we have Adrian Wentworth, who's just a wonderful, extraordinary, powerful, humble, which to me, as you well know, who've been on the show, to me, that's to experience their powerful and incredible gifts with humbleness and grace and love. To me, that is extraordinarily important. And Adrian has written a book that is really mind-altering and spirit-changing, divine intervention with tools and methods, and just help for all of us coming into the time of change and this time of movement. And she's also put out an extraordinary CD, Water in the Eyes of Time, that just opens the spirit and opens the heart in a way that I haven't seen that often. So we're just honored to be part of this show tonight. And also Adrian's going to grace us with a mantra demonstration tonight. So there's really just a lot in store, and we have an extraordinary season planned for you, and we're just so excited to be back and so excited to be with you again. And we're adding cities all the time. I'll go into that later, but please join me so we can set a tone for this show and just drop deep inside. So join me for a meditation, and then right from the meditation, we're going to go into a Franz Lanting. I've been calling him Hans all week, so I finally did it on the show. A Franz Lanting video that just, he is one of the world's foremost wild animal photographers, and you'll see some just extraordinary shots. So please join me in a meditation, and then you'll see some wonderful video. So please. Hi, everybody. Welcome, and welcome, Adrian.
Thank
Good
you.
to have you.
Thank you.
So why don't you tell everybody just a little bit of your history and how you came to have the great gifts you have?
God gave them to me.
All right, the show's over now.
But I was searching, as many people start on their path. And as I began my journey, I started to come across obstacles. And I would seek from different teachers and healers to help me, how do I get past this point? And I began as a yoga and meditation teacher. And so for 10 years, I had a very disciplined routine and built a very strong foundation to build my bridge to the upper realms and to be able to reach high vibrations and the angels and the different guides that I work with. And so I had a lot of spiritual experiences and was very happy doing what I was doing. And sometimes once you build your bridge, God intervenes, divine intervention, and says, well, we have something we'd like you to do. Would you do that? And of course, anything, you know? And the anything was...
Actually, we saw with a lot of people, there was a lot of resistance throughout the period.
I've always...
You didn't have...
No, because it's like, when you ask me to do something, if I can do it, I will do it. And so I was asked to help people move forward spiritually. And they're not getting where they need to go because of certain things that are going on. And whenever universal law is being violated in any way, God will intervene. Now, right now, there's so much separation. People really want to open their hearts and they want to align with God's energy, and yet they're feeling separate. And it's not because they're not worthy. And
it's not because they're not connected.
And they're not connected.
Right.
It's because there are things within their energy bodies, sometimes implants from different extraterrestrial abductions they've had. Sometimes there are old devices they're carrying in their etheric body, which is, you know, the impressions of all the different lifetimes that you've had. Sometimes it can be even an entity, an astral entity who is attached to you, who is holding you back. And if you're not aware of this, you don't know what to do. And so people started to show up and ask me, can you help me?
And part of your gift was being able to see this.
But because of my long time training with yoga and meditation, you get gifts when you do that. You don't ask for gifts, but they come. Some of it is accumulated from other lifetimes, but basically it's like I was asked, and I have a very strong belief system that if there's a problem, there are solutions.
Right. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, and show me the solutions. And I would be so stubborn when I was developing my healing work. Someone would come and I would say, I'm confident that we can find out what the trouble is, because I'm not leaving here until we do.
Right.
And because of that, you know, a strong passion and desire, God likes that. And they're like, okay, let's give her a little bit more to do, because she seems to, you know, flow well with this. And not only that, because I trusted so strong in our divine protection, most of the interference is truly an illusion that when you lift it, you know, it's gone. And now you are again aligned with God. And it's like you are safe, but it certainly doesn't look like that.
Doesn't feel like it.
Doesn't feel that way. And then people shut down and close down.
Right.
You know, sometimes when the people first learn how to meditate, they open their channels and there's other energies around that come in, and then they get frightened and they close again. So what I like to do is teach people how to, first of all, open their channels in a protective space, even with someone who can watch and can see what's going on, and then, you know, show them or clear it for them, and then tell them how to discern, so then they can confidently, you know, sit and move forward and meditate. And
you're giving workshops all over the country and the world, teaching, and you started an institute. Why don't you just tell us a little about that?
Well, you know, one thing leads to another when you start something. And I feel very strong right now that my mission is to give people the direct experience of God's energy. It's like, so often God is just an idea for so many. It's just an idea that we're striving and aspiring to reach, but we really don't think we'll ever feel his energy. We'd love to, but we're not sure. So what I want to do is go around, help people open their channels, bring in God energy for them so they can have the experience. And now you know, this is God energy.
And this is different and better than
so much better.
Right.
And then,
this is what you really want.
Yes.
Right.
And then show you how to work with God's energy to manifest and create what you want in your life. And to not be afraid of the different interferences out there, because once you are totally connected with God, you are safe. But because of what is coming, you know, it's like we are moving into a higher vibration. That sounds wonderful, but there's going to be this little transition period where what happens is when a higher vibration comes in, it shakes loose everything that is a lower vibration.
Yeah, you can feel the change. I mean,
and people who don't understand are becoming very anxious. Some are depressed feeling. Some are feeling violent. They don't have control, and they don't understand what to do or where to go to fix it. And so these are normal feelings going on right now. And if you know they're normal, and then you have some methods to cope, so you understand, you know, oh, I can clear that off of my energy body. Oh, I can find the parts of me that are in panic, you know. And then I can connect up and feel God's energy and support for me. So no matter what I see, when I look around me, I know I'm okay. I know I will be okay. I know everything will be okay.
The feeling of being connected, the feeling of being loved.
Is the only safety.
Right, exactly.
You know, it's the only thing. And so this is what I feel strongly am being called to do right now, is to help people have that experience, to show them how to, I like to empower people to do things for themselves. And that's why I work with mantras, because mantras are universal sounds. Nobody owns a mantra. Yeah. And so I can teach people. I've empowered them.
And there's no philosophy really with it.
You don't have to belong to any particular religion, any particular group. You know, you can use a mantra in any way you choose, because the mantra is empowered. And if you work with it, you know, you will have the effect. And so I use the different mantras, as I'm going to show you a little later, and what you can do with them. And the more you use a mantra, the more powerful it becomes. And that's the secret. It's like you become the power. You know, God empowers you, but then you become the power, and you don't ever feel like a victim again. You know, so many parents say, my children have nightmares at night, and they don't know what to do. And oftentimes children are being bothered, either by extraterrestrials who aren't coming to the planet to help. There are some who are, but you have to know the difference. And sometimes there are, you know, ghosts, entities, things like this that are around, or just energy left in a room. Like, for example, when I go to a hotel room, the first thing I do is clear out everybody's energy who was there before. Or I'll have a terrible night. Everybody will come in. And usually they're drawn to light, you know. So the more light you have, the more of this you're going to see. But because light is coming into the planet, everyone's going to be seeing these things more. And no matter where I go, there's people who are just starting on their spiritual path, and they're having incredible experiences saying, I was so afraid, I'm seeing things, and what do I do? And they have to know it's okay. It's always been there. You know? And now I'm going to show you how to cope. So this is...
So those are the tools you're giving and going around to the workshops to do.
Definitely, and to help people attune to their own guidance, their own high self. I don't work much with spiritual guides. I like people to work with their own high self, because then you can always know where it's coming from.
But you do channel, and part of the...
I do channel, I channel the ancient spiritual hierarchy. And what that is, it's a group that is dedicated to helping people come back to God.
Channeling. I mean, most people probably do understand it, but why don't you just explain how it works for you and
how it works is I attune to the vibration of these different beings, and they consist of Archangel Michael, Mother Mary, Sananda, which is Lord Jesus. It's like a high self aspect of Jesus. People describe it different ways, but to me, that's what it feels like. Ashtar, and a lot of people don't know Ashtar, and yet he's one of the most dearest and closest beings to God. And sometimes God essence itself. You can channel God essence itself. And what I do is I attune to that vibration and allow the messages to come. And what I've learned through that process is, first of all, certain channels have had experiences in their life that give them openings for certain kinds of information. A lot of people say, well, I've heard people channel Mother Mary and Archangel Michael, and they're not talking about these things. Perhaps those people don't have the openings to receive that kind of information. They're being asked to provide another kind of information.
Right.
And
there's
so
a lot of information
there's a lot of
now.
information to help at a lot of different levels.
Absolutely. Right.
And yet, because I have the tools to handle, and again, I always tell, I always say, don't give me, tell me to give people problems without telling me what the solutions are, because what good will that do?
That's very nice. It's a very nice, so we need more.
So the first thing I did during my own journey is I found all the problems, and I was so shocked. Because, a lot of times you're not taught this, even in the different spiritual traditions, that these kinds of things go on. And then when I found out that, my goodness, there's dark force energies, because I was taught, no, they don't exist. Well, when you're in the one, they don't exist. But step it down, they exist. And they're creating havoc in my life. So how do I detach from that? And of course, the first thing is the fear sets in. And so I had to be very strong and really trust to keep going with this, and to see the difference. Sometimes.
So in other words, like almost going through the dark into the light again.
I went way into the dark in order to experience in this, and I was told by some spiritual, masters, no, we know it exists, but it's too difficult. Don't go there. I'm going, but many people are not going home anymore. They want to go home back to God, but they're not reaching it. And then they give up, feel hopeless, and decide it's not attainable. It's so attainable, and it doesn't take 20 incarnations. God is saying, I'm right here now. Reach up.
And you've had a regular life. I mean, you're a mother,
I'm
and you've
mother.
been a wife.
Oh, am I a mother? I have 6 children.
Right. So I mean, it's not like you were off in a monastery, just came down for the show, although we do have
and because of those children, sometimes when I was having the most interesting, exciting, inspiring, and sometimes ungrounding experiences, at the same time I'd be potty training all day. So my children kept me very grounded. But also because of my children, it drove me to continue, because I wanted them to be protected. I wanted them to be safe. And then, God literally said to me, why only your children?
Right. Where do your children stop?
Yeah.
Where do my children stop?
And because I have children, I cared so much. It's like, that's right, I care about everyone's children. I want everyone's children to be safe.
And we're all
children.
Of God, right?
Exactly.
Right.
We're all children. So this is pretty much how it started.
So, and how did you come to write this? The Divine Intervention is the first book you've written? Is
yes.
That right? So how did that start to come through you, and we given,
I was
instead
asked,
of taking it out to put it in a book form, how did that come
I was asked to take these messages, and it's written in a story form, because sometimes difficult information is easier to absorb if it's a story.
Right.
And so I was asked to write it to help wake the world up and say, look, there's some tough times coming, but all the help is here. Please be aware of this, because sometimes there's a tendency to only see what you want to see because, it's more pleasant.
Well, you're more used to it, even though it's not pleasant at all.
It
might not be very pleasant at all.
So often.
But at least it's like something I know. It's unpleasant, but I know it.
Exactly.
Right.
And so, but because I was having some really hard experiences, I was like, I have to find the solutions. And so the interesting thing is, everything that I channeled, I have experienced as truth. Or I could not put out a book that made such bold statements about what's going on here on Earth unless I had direct experience to know that. Because, you always have to feel right about things. And then no one can push you from your truth, because this is my truth.
Yeah, it's real to you.
It's very real to me.
It's not an idea.
It's not an idea.
You've realized it. It's true.
And most people who come to me for like a healing session, it only takes 1 or 2 sessions before we come down to, you really want to move forward. Let me show you some of the interferences. Not one person has ever said, no, that is wrong. As soon as they're in a safe space, someone is saying, I have the answer right here. They're willing to acknowledge.
So when you say, so say someone's in a session with you, and so what interference would you say?
One that comes up a lot.
One
that comes up a lot for people that they have a very hard time with is old, satanic cult abuse, and even cult abuse from this lifetime, where they know it exists and they're so frightened.
So you think, or it's more prevalent than even
It's very
weird
prevalent.
stories say.
No, it's very prevalent, and it's surprising that people, very professional, living their lives, trying to hold themselves together, and feeling, that they still are being controlled by something. And even though you leave something, it doesn't necessarily leave you. I deal a lot with courtings with people where someone who has an investment in using your energy and your power will cord their energy body to yours. And it's an actual physical, at the energetic level, everything is just vibration.
So would you say that the master's feelings when you started telling them this was that if you rub against the light enough, that there will be, you'll eliminate the darkness? That's the theory,
normally the
right?
masters rub against me to get their darkness off, and so they'll say, you'll release it for me, Mother. That's what they say, like, thanks a lot, you guys. So they have healing work done on them with their disciples who they are very loyal, because they know how to clear the energies. And they give people, the tools they feel people are ready for, but because of the time, people need more tools and they need more understanding, because things are going to shift more quickly now.
Because it's just that time in history.
It's just that time. It's time to balance things again. And the imbalance has to go. And the only way it's going to go is by an influx of powerful spiritual energy. And people are doing, what they're supposed to do to help in their way. And again, this is just my piece.
No, I understand.
Yeah. And
when you experience what you would call connectedness, does it feel like love to you in a human body? Would you describe it that way?
Love and incredible oneness, power.
Yeah, the show.
Where there are no problems.
Right, everything's perfect.
Everything's, and yet you still feel you are an individual consciousness, but you feel so merged into the whole, you have the understanding then, like, oh, why do I want to come out of this? Well, because there's work to do.
Right, because you're in a physical body. And
you're in a
that's the
physical
nature
body, and this is the nature. But being able to draw on that gives you the strength to endure whatever comes in your life. I always noticed, I thought it was so interesting, because I've had some hard times. You have 6 kids. You're going to have some hard times in your life.
I don't know anybody who's in a physical body when
especially when they become teenagers. They, and sometimes I'd be sitting in my meditation, and I'd have an incredible sense of peace and okayness about everything, and then all hell would break loose.
Mom!
Yeah, it's like, what time did you get home? Is that alcohol on your breath? Who's that boy with you? And I thought that was so interesting that often the help comes even before the problem. So you have the strength.
You're in the place to deal with it, the consciousness.
So you have the strength.
Yeah, the understanding. So, I mean, do you feel that like more and more people are coming to that, coming to you and coming to people with that message of love and clearing and...
Clearing is so important because, again, in order to shift your own vibration so that you can receive, you've got to let go of some of the old form. And it's going to come out anyway. It's like as it comes in, it's the new energy comes in. It's kind of like putting a higher vibration into this real solid mass. But it's going to keep pushing and pushing on people. And so the more they can clear, and there's I deal a lot of with a lot of abuse, people who've been abused.
Physically,
emotionally, sexual abuse. From generations we go back and clear where this all started. Because sometimes you want to receive it, but you've been hurt so many times, you don't even know how to open.
Fear. Yeah, right.
Exactly. Or you have a sense of unworthiness, and you feel, guilt in things.
Yeah, why should I receive?
Even though maybe this wasn't my fault, still,
well,
I must have been bad.
I don't experience it can be someone's fault.
Right, but so many people somehow feel that way, and I really help them see that no.
And because you give them an experience where there is no fear.
And not only that, I'll take those impressions right out of their energy bodies.
So they won't have that impression.
They won't, and then it's actually gone. And people say...
And it doesn't come back.
It doesn't come back unless you go out and have that experience again, but you're not drawn to.
So, in other words, like in a sense, you're clearing their karma? Is that one way to describe it?
What happens is people get trapped in their karma because...
And karma being...
the experiences that you have, all right, that are set up. So what happens is that you will draw whatever your body is vibrating. Some people I've had worked on kept getting raped, And
kept getting worse.
Yeah, like maybe 3 times. And they would go to counseling and things. And then what I would do is pull the impressions out, work on them. All of a sudden their life turns around because you're vibrating this experience.
So in other words, you're almost drawing it to you.
Exactly. And once you understand that, then you can shift.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because you're just not in the same momentum. You're like
not
reversing
putting out the same
momentum.
energy.
Right.
What you put out is what you get back.
Right.
So often you put out a really high intent, but you're vibrating all these other lower vibrations. So.
All right, so I think now we have the second Franz Lanting video. Is that ready in the control room? All right, whenever we're ready, why don't we roll it? Hi, so we're back. So Adrian, what do you feel is like, for most people, is the most difficult thing for them to deal with at this point? I mean, besides feeling separate, not feeling love, other than that.
That their lives are going to change.
That there's going to be tremendous change, and they get ready for it.
Yeah, and just as you said, even if you don't like your life, you're at a comfort level. And everyone's comfort level is going to shift in the near future with the approaching earth changes and the different systems that are breaking down. And this is all good. It's to shift to something better, right. But it's going to look chaotic.
Yeah, if you're in a, if you all solid, it's going to be shaky.
Right, and yet, if you are aligned with God's plan, you'll feel it's a very exciting time to be on Earth.
Or fluid.
And fluid.
Right.
And one of the most important things to do is to know how to, connect with your God source, your high self. And I like to tell people so they understand, well, what exactly is this high self thing everybody talks about? And I like to explain, if you think of God like a big ball of energy, this is pulsating life, and our high selves are like a pinpoint, where we're all part of God. It's our God self. And then you have, the light ray, we call ourselves rays of light that come down. But the high self never leaves God. So you're always our God. And then at the end of the ray is the soul. And then the soul, is inside, and you manifest all your different bodies, your spiritual body, your emotional body, your mental body, and your physical body around that soul. And whatever soul experiences you're carrying is how you turn out.
Let me ask you, in your experience, can anything be outside of God?
Yes, I believe
Something
so.
can be outside of God's energy.
Yes.
There's other energy but God's energy.
Yes.
And what energy is that?
I believe that to be true, and I believe that the energy, it was given a name for me to identify with, but if you understand, and I call it, it's like a conspiracy. To help to keep that is hard because I know it's hard for people.
Was it before the Creator? I mean,
no, God was God, and what happened?
Thank God.
God was God, but what happened is, it's like at first we were given an incredible amount of power because look at your high self, you're attached with all this power, and God literally said, go out and experience, have a great time, and then come back and share with me. But what happened is we didn't get a book of rules. Like, well, we can do anything. And we did literally everything. So what I'm saying is there is energy now that has been formed that is not really God's energy. It has been distorted. But when you detach from it, and it's grown, I mean, it's come from the minds of men who have, this energy has grown to be such a large magnitude at this point that it is pulling on people, it is pulling on planets. It is literally trying to, it's like a race is on to see, can God save this planet, or is this planet going to be pulled away into this dark void? So there's so many, and it's all explained in my book much better than I can. It's so complicated that I can just give it to you in a nutshell kind of thing. But the understanding is that because it's distorted energy, but yet it is working, it is attached to us and to the planets. We are feeding this. Now, if we detach from it, it no longer is a problem for us, and that's how you take your power back. That's how everything will stop. It's by us taking our power back. And as the book explains, we were tricked into giving up our power because, we're young, naive beings. Just as so often in this lifetime, until you have like streetwise, smarts, often you get taken advantage of. And so it's a hard concept to understand because most people say, well, everything is love and light. And it's like, God's energy is love and light, but there is now another energy that is taking your essence. If you have implants and if you are corded to different dark beings, and it is converting it, using it, and then doing awful things with it. And you have to look around the planet.
So is it possible the experiment was set up to include that?
I don't think so.
But that wasn't your experience.
According to what the information I have is that God really didn't know what would happen. And this is another hard concept for people, that God is evolving also. You know, it's like it's an energy source that is constantly evolving as we are evolving. And yet when it comes to the point, it's almost like I see like a parallel going on. And we are out in the different dimensions having experience. And when you're connected with God, you know, this is wonderful, you're going towards God. And yet there's this other energy now that's been created that is drawing on us. And we're feeding it. And so, and really, all God is saying, to be safe, detached, help me here, because I want all my children to come home. So there's a lot of trying to explain in real simple terms.
Right.
And you can take it symbolic, you know, or you can take it actual. But once the message is, there are other energies out there that are not of God, and you need to be aware that they are cunning and they are manipulating. And yet you can detach from it and you can be safe.
See, to me, it's something about it doesn't, I mean, I might just
be... No, it's
but
very hard.
There's a power source, and everything comes from the power source. Now, it looks like it doesn't because it's in individual houses, and some houses are dark and some houses, but there's a power source, and in the universe, there's a power source. We call it God, and we experience it that way. There's nothing that is an energy that's outside that power source. That's my, you know, I mean, I'm just telling you my experience.
And this is a very strong belief system.
Well, it's been my experience.
Your experience, exactly. Right. And what I'm saying is I've had opposite experiences. I've had that experience too. And that was my first experience, and that was my belief system, until I started to experience some of these other things. And I've developed very, very deep vision, where I can look into places that some people either don't know to look, or don't want to look, but yet it's affecting what's going on here. So I would go to these places and see. But
a lot of things happen in houses that have power, but the power source is still the power source.
Well, I'm saying that God really wants this detached from, all right, this energy that is, it's almost been created in opposition to goodness. And God's saying, please detach now, because it's pulling on you. I want you all to move forward now and come home. And this is pulling on you and keeping you, you know, stuck.
Okay, so you're going to do a little mantra demonstration that's going to unstick us. So let's,
exactly.
All right.
Then you'll have better clarity.
Right.
Okay. Well, I love mantras because everyone can use and work with mantras. And mantras are vibrations, very powerful God vibrations. It's like a gift from God. And the first mantra I want to demonstrate is called the Panduranga mantra. And Panduranga is the aspect of God that is just white light. And when you use this mantra, all this white light comes in and it transforms a lot of negativity and darkness. So I use this mantra when I want to clear a house or any kind of space. I use the mantra just to bring in more light and clarity. And it goes like this. Om Namo Bhagavate Pandurangaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Pandurangaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Pandurangaya. And all these mantras are on my CD so people can learn them. Another mantra that is so powerful is the Hanuman mantra. And Hanuman is considered to be the servant of the Lord. Hanuman will do anything. And so what we do is do the Hanuman mantra whenever you want to clear energies. So Hanuman goes like this. Om Ham Hanumate Rudratmakaya Ham Fwat Swaha. And the Fwat Swaha means I'm dissipating this energy. And so often people say, well, if you're being bothered by a negative energy or a ghost, just tell it to go in the light. But these beings have an investment in being on the earth, because that's the only way they can continue working the kind of lifestyle they want, is by living through someone else. And so this mantra will call upon Hanuman or one of his helpers to go ahead and take that being where he needs to go. And again, it's Om Ham Hanumate Rudratmakaya Ham Fwat Swaha. And you can literally lift the energy up. I just go and lift it up and help the guides carry it to the dimension. So when you're doing this kind of work, you're not only clearing it from yourself and you're experiencing, you're helping these beings go to where they really need to go. And they need to go across into the light and go into the realms where they can start to work on where they went wrong or what they need to do next. Another wonderful mantra is the Ganesh mantra, and that's a mantra that I use to overcome obstacles, whether it's, gee, I can't find a parking space, or I'm really stuck. And so then I do Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. And if you do this mantra 10, 11 times, you will find that you instantly get some insight, some clarity into what you need to do. Another really wonderful mantra to open your heart is the Krishna mantra. And Krishna and Christ are literally one and the same as far as my experience of their energies. And so if you do this mantra with devotion, Om Klim Krishnaye Namaha, Om Klim Krishnaye Namaha, Om Klim Krishnaye Namaha. And what happens is, when you start doing mantras, you start feeling better. It like uplifts your spirit, no matter how depressed you were or how lonely. And loneliness is something that, a lot of people are experiencing, that separation I was talking about. This mantra makes you feel full, and it helps you open to God's love. And not only that, then you're going to attract other love to you in the form of physical relationships. Another wonderful mantra is the Lakshmi mantra. And Lakshmi is that aspect of Divine Mother that is said to bestow all the spiritual blessings, all the boons. And of course, spiritual blessings, it can be abundance, prosperity, but like normally you're not going to be asking for like a new car or something. It's like, help me to grow spiritually, and then, oh yes, help me to help other people. Oh yes, and the blessings come. And that mantra is Om Shrim Mahalakshmiye Namaha, Om Shrim Mahalakshmiye Namaha. And people like to play mantras when they're driving. It helps them feel relaxed and unstressed and unwind from the day. And one of the most powerful mantras is the Gayatri mantra, and that's considered just the most powerful mantra you can do for enlightenment and to bring in so much white light. And it's a beautiful mantra to learn, and on my CD I put music to it, and with a melody, so it'd be very easy to pick up, and even small children can learn this. And this mantra alone will surround you with a protective vibration. And that mantra is Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha, Om Tat Savitur Varenyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Diyo Yona Prachodayat. You can see it's quite long, and so having it playing over and over again is useful and helpful. And so I'm going to do it one more time for you so you can just feel the vibration. And these mantras also will connect you to the deities, which are just aspects of God. God is one, but there's different deities, different aspects that we call on for different reasons. So let me do the Gayatri for you one more time. Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha, Om Tat Savitur Varenyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Diyo Yona Prachodayat. And one thing about mantras, the more you do them, the more powerful you feel. And a mantra that I use all the time that really helps you get in your personal power is the Durga mantra. And it's Om Doom Durgaye Namaha. Durga is like a ferocious part of Divine Mother who says, I will take care of any evil, any negativity that comes your way. Call on me and I will come and take it away. And again, it's Om Doom Durgaye Namaha. Om Doom Durgaye Namaha. And when you're doing it, you start to just feel it strongly in your abdomen. Oh, that power of the mantra, the power. It's so wonderful. So mantras, if you let them come through you in any possible way it feels right for you, you will get the benefits. There's no right or wrong, like I have to sing it like Adrian, sang it, or my voice came out all cracky. It's just like, let it come out, and the more you do it, God's energy will just come through you. It creates an opening. Mantras definitely create an opening.
These are all on your CD.
Every one of them is on my CD.
Right? Yeah, I love that. Actually, when I don't know how I can't remember how I heard about Adrian. Maybe you sent some information or your publicist or something. But I put in the CD first, and I said, "Boy, this is beautiful."
Yeah.
I mean, she'd be great to be on the show. Yeah. So, I mean, how long has that CD been out?
It's been out, actually, I did it a few years ago, but I'm one of these people that I'm right on to the next project, and it's like, gee, we should do something to get it out there to the public now. But I'm like, well, I know, but I need to get this book done first, and I need to keep seeing my clients. So it now is available in most of the stores that carry, different kinds of,
kind of stuff.
They can get it if they don't have it. Yeah.
Is it in the big bookstores, the big chains yet?
Yeah, Barnes and Noble and Borders can both get it, and again, it's in their
special orders.
It's in their database, and so they can go, oh yeah, we can get that.
Right, and also if anybody has any information or wants any information about Franz's book Eye to Eye or anything about Adrian, please give me a call, 805-687-2053. It'll run at the credits again. I'll give you whatever information you want about Adrian, where she is, where her workshops are going to be. So, do that anytime. It's Alan, 805-687-2053. So where are you going now? I mean, you're going to LA and then all over, just doing workshops?
Yeah, I'm going to spend 3 weeks in California, doing workshops.
You flew in from Minnesota yesterday. Yes. You live in Minnesota.
Great timing, huh?
Yeah, right. You brought the rain with you. That's what I thought.
Yeah, I'm going to be in Santa Monica and Santa Cruz and Fremont this particular trip, and then I'll be going
doing whole week workshops?
No, doing lecturing and then a full day seminar, because I can give people a lot in one day. Fill them up and give them plenty to work with until the next time I come through town
and
again.
then are you heading back to the kids in Minnesota?
Then I'm definitely going back to the kids in Minnesota, and then on into Georgia and Texas is my next plans.
So, but I mean, it's just going to keep expanding.
Exactly. Yeah, just keep going. It's like wherever there's somebody that says, this might be useful to me, it's like, oh, I'll go.
Yeah, I know, that's great. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thing how just so many people are getting so much information and so many beautiful, helpful tools. And it's just,
well, we need all the help we can get.
That's one of my
and you have to gravitate to what feels right for you.
Right.
And there's people that go, oh yeah, as soon as, this is right for me. And others go, no, Adrian, you're not for me. And I'm going, that's okay, because someone else is for you.
Right.
Yeah.
As long as there's somebody getting gas in the car.
That's right. That's exactly how it works.
Right. So, I mean, you just feel tremendously excited about the whole process.
I do, because God's energy is the most exciting thing there is. And so to watch somebody, who didn't think that they could connect and didn't think that they could get guidance, and in one day's time feel that energy come through and be able to take a message from their own guidance, and then to learn how to clear their own energy bodies. To me, that's so exciting, because it took me years and years and years to do it.
Do you think just things are speeding up now, so it almost has to go faster for people who are hungry for it?
And those of us who opened earlier, we opened then so we could create faster, quicker ways.
So people are coming forth on your hard work.
And I would always see students come in, they're like, I got it, I got it. But what I've also learned to do is to be able to transfer abilities and gifts. Those that don't have them, if they're open, I can transfer that ability, and now you have it.
So in other words, you can put some of the cassette that's in your experience into their machine.
Exactly. And then, of course, they have it. Now all you have to do is use it.
Then it's theirs.
It's theirs.
Right. So, and they don't look to you like it's really yours, because it's not the teaching.
No, and that's what we're asked to do. And then you go collect something from someone else, and something from someone else, and you put it all together for whatever you need, you know, your unique needs. So that's how it works.
Oh, that's fantastic. So, I mean, you know, yeah, I've been feeling so much. It's just such an exciting time, you know, that all of us are coming together. And
it is. It's teamwork, you know.
Right.
And we should really greatly appreciate each other, because everyone's playing their role, and it's so needed. Oh. Right.
Do you find? I mean, you do a lot of stuff like at seminars yourself, but do you feel like there's more cooperation happening between people too? You know, ego being what it is.
Ego is a tough one, definitely.
How do you clear that?
You know, guys, we're all on the same team. You know, this is what I remind. It's not about, and I always tell people, even the people that come to me to experience like my healing work, I always say, if you experience my healing work, it's just going to help all the other healing works that you've either already done or will do.
Right, it's all connected.
It's all connected. This is just a missing piece, I call it. Do this piece, it's going to make everything else easier. And so again, it's like, okay, then that's Adrian's piece to contribute. And I'm sure that there's many others who have the same kind of pieces as well. But when one comes forward and says, yeah, I know about ET implants, it's like, good, then get out there and start helping people, because people are suffering and they're feeling powerless.
It's extraordinary. I mean, how many people who, I don't think many people have heard about it. I mean, you have your...
For years and years and years.
Right, and just extraordinary messages and just wonderful
Watch
gifts.
the television. The television is showing you all over to help prepare.
Right. All right, so I guess we're coming to the end of the show. I mean, thank you for watching. We're blessed to have the opportunity to come to you, and we just hope that you watched and you had an experience, and you know that there's going to be more love in your life and more hope and more dreams. So good night, and God bless you.